I have these brainstorms late at night as I'm working or browsing the web or just trying to figure out how to turn my ideas into like my stories, my past stories. And sometimes I get hit, or I mean all the time I get hit with ideas, and I think this happens to most people. A lot of times it happens in the shower. And those ideas are always coming to us, and if we collect them, we can do something with them. This is why you take notes and write to-do lists and create vision boards, set expectations, goals, stuff like that. So when I have an idea, I pick up my notebook and I start just jotting things down. Or sometimes I turn on the camera and I probably have, actually I know I have, I think 1,000 hours of video, audio journals and 10 volumes of written journals. And I think a lot of those ideas that I've had in there are great. So why wouldn't I just share them with everybody? So that's what I'm going to do. The things that I usually keep private, I'm going to make public. I've always said that part of my mission is to get people to openly enjoy what they secretly enjoy. And I enjoy writing my ideas down, shooting videos and stuff. So I was working on this talk that I'm doing in a couple of weeks about the third life existential crisis. And it usually comes in one of two forms. The first one being you set your mind to being something, a doctor or an astronaut or a professional baseball player, or you set your mind to something like having a family and kids and stuff. And you take a look at your life and you have become successful by basic worldly standards, like you pay your bills, you've got friends, you get laid, little money in the bank, a respectable job, or even career. But that success came at the expense of your dream. So you didn't become a lawyer. You ended up just taking a sales job. Or you didn't end up becoming a CEO of a company. Or owning a company. Instead, you decided to be a stay-at-home mom and raise kids. And although that life is fulfilling, there's, now that you've kind of, not necessarily mastered it, but you've won in that game. You're doing well. You start to think like, well, shit, all right, now that I'm doing good, all my needs are taken care of. If you've got kids, they're taken care of. Your bills are taken care of. Your fun, is taken care of. Like, it would be nice if I could be that thing that I always wanted to be. And sometimes it's vocational. I want to be a school teacher or something. Sometimes it's physical, like I want a six-pack. Like, it's time that I get in shape. I've always wanted to know what it's like to be in amazing shape. Maybe it's going from an artist or a practitioner into like a business owner. Or maybe it's being, opening up a food truck or something. Everyone's got dreams that are unfulfilled. So that's one of the ways that the third life existential crisis can hit you. The second one is that you did actually become that thing that you wanted to be. You wanted to be the entrepreneur that was making six figures, whose wife didn't have to work so she could do whatever she wanted to do. Or maybe you became that doctor that is finally like respected and making money and saving lives. Or it's a salesman who's who's made $1 million by now, or an investor, or a day trader who's making tons and tons of money, and so they've got more money than they know what to do with. But at that point, that you worked so hard and you stayed so focused for so long to get to that point, you get there and you realize life keeps going. Oh shit, I didn't think past this point because there was a part of me that thought I wouldn't get there, and I was so focused on getting there that I never thought past it. And now that I'm here, I'm happy. I have all of my basic needs taken care of. Your bills are paid. You've got friends. You get laid. You've got a nice apartment. You get to have fun, vacations. You've got play money for recreational things. You may or may not be a millionaire, but you're doing well. At this point, it's like, oh shit. Like, I didn't think past here, and this is starting to get old. And suddenly not suddenly, but it's kind of like over time, like a slow fog rolls in the form of numbness, where like nothing really makes you happy, but nothing's really going wrong. Everything's going pretty good. And you either got that promotion or you had that family, and you start to coast a little bit, and you start feeling this numbness a little bit. But this numbness to the outside world appears that it's stability. Like, oh man, you open that business, you're finally profitable. Oh, you started your family, and that's going great. But once you have a certain accomplishment, people see you as privileged. So this numbness, you start to kind of articulate it. It's like, well, I'm not really happy. Now, if you bring this up to like an average person, and you're an attorney making 6 figures a year, you've got a beautiful fiance, and just came back from backpacking through Europe. Seems like you got it all, but there's something inside of you that's like, I'm not happy. And when you bring this up to people, they're like, well, what the heck do you have to complain about? And they list all the things that you have. And basically, in a very polite way, and not trying to be an asshole, they tell you to shut up. Don't say nothing. So you allow that to like fester, and now it's like, well, if I complain, I seem like I'm almost bragging about how great my life is, that these are my problems, that there's a light fog coming in that's doesn't feel right. A dissatisfaction, a confusion, a fog, yeah. And this fog gets heavier and heavier over time, and then soon it's like you don't want to bring it up because it's not that big of a deal, but you start filling it with like little pleasures, food, porn, drinking, weed. Or you just keep diving into the thing that made you successful. You keep investing in your career. You keep working out harder. You keep whatever the mountain you climb to get that success, you kind of turn it up a notch. Usually causing other areas of your life, your relationships, your health, sometimes your finances, to slip. Then once that slips, you start feeling more of that fog, and then more comes in, more little pleasures, and so on and so forth. At some point, you're living your life, and you're like, shit, the stuff that was important, suddenly isn't so important anymore. And I didn't think past this point, so like, shit, what's important now that I have what I want? And you're left kind of feeling a certain way. Now, the other part is like, the other side is you kind of had to sell out. You had to give up the big promotion so you could have a family, or starting that business so you could start a family. You gave up starting a family so you could have that business. You've worked so hard with, keeping up. Really? I always feel like when I'm trying to drop some knowledge, technology just fucks with me. Yeah, I don't know if that recorded or not. Well, but it's on audio, so. Oh shit. Alright, so on the other hand, you sold out to stability. Whatever you found stability in, your job, in having a family, in being, the most popular person, being popular, socially savvy, getting laid, whatever it is. To experience stability, you gave up extraordinary. You gave up your dream. You wanted to be this, but because you needed to make money, or because it just seemed like the right move, or whatever it may be, the currents of life allowed you to drift to stable waters. Which there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just a certain pathway to identity, and to be an adult in a way that allows you to be aware of all, or that empowers you to be aware of like all that's good. Again, your bills are paid, you've got friends, you've got family, you might have kids, stable job, your boss likes you, social life, all that business. But it feels like, starts to kind of feel numb. Like, okay, I feel safe. I was afraid to take that risk so I could feel safe, and now I feel safe, so like, okay, what now? And you're like, shit, I didn't really think past this point. But then you start thinking like, well, what should I do? And you start looking to the past. Or you think, what should I do? And you actually start getting worried. Start getting worried about like, oh, and actually, no, you don't get worried. You actually start looking at the past. And you're like, shit, I wanted to be a school teacher. Shit, I wanted to open up a business. Shit, I wanted to do some charity work. I wanted to have an impact on the world. I wanted to fall in love and be social and be well liked. I had this dream of what I truly wanted when I thought there was no limit, when I knew that there were no limitations. Like when you're 9 years old, you're just a kid. I want that. So life goes on, and you are looking at that and feeling joy, and as you are moving farther and farther and farther away from that, because you're getting older, and that creates pain inside you. And that pain is just like regret of the past. And like that time that you were like gonna make the move, or you were almost there, and you decided, no, I don't have what it takes right now. I'm not willing to gamble on me. And that's a painful past memory of like self-rejection of what you truly wanted. You just went with the safe thing. You had an opportunity to gamble on yourself, but you didn't think it was a good risk, so you took the safe bet. And like that story is playing in your head over and over again. And the farther you get away from the thing that you dreamed of as time goes by, the more it starts to hurt. And once it gets hurt past a point to where it's like affecting your day, it's called depression. It's when you're struggling to let go of the past so you can actually make it the future. Because as long as you associate that dream to that pain, to that regret, to that self-hate, if you want to be that strong about it, it's only then, once you let that go, that you can even start to get what you want. But we get in this endless cycle, like, how do we break that loop? How do we break that loop? On the other hand, the person who made it, and now they're like, oh fuck, now what do I do? And as more time goes on and they have no idea what direction is next, they start becoming less and less impressive. It's the high school star quarterback that is getting to be 23 years old and starting to wonder, oh shit, I haven't done anything since winning state. I'm starting to become a has-been. What am I going to do next that is so excellent that it is more overwhelming than the success I've already had? Because you can't keep playing the same single over and over again if you want to be in the Hall of Fame. Sorry for the sounds of my dog snoring. And as more time goes on and like the blurrier and blurrier the future is, the more and the faster your life is going, the trajectory of your career or your family or whatever, as you become more successful in the thing that you wanted to, you accelerate faster through the universe. And as the cloud of fog gets thicker, the faster you go, the scarier it is. And when you are uncertain of the future, when you're traveling at 100 miles an hour in complete fog, that worry, that fear is anxiety. That's when humans are having a hard time being able to see what's in the future. So we make a plan, right? Somehow we like break out of this emotional fog and we're like, shit, I gotta take action. Now this doesn't happen to everybody. A lot of people stay stuck in that loop for a long time, sometimes indefinitely, of anxiety and depression. And there are some people that 10% of people, they get out and they're like, shit, I gotta make a plan. So they get out their notebook, they write down their goals, they do a whole SMART goal thing, and they build their business and do a SWOT analysis, and they do personality tests, and they go to seminars and they make this well-defined blueprint that's actually brilliant. They've researched and worked and meditated and hired coaches and found mentors and journaled and shot videos, and they are ready to go with a master plan that's constructed by the world's most brilliant minds and a lot of their hard work. And when they turn the engine over and start to go, they get started on their task list and then are just bombarded with other things calling for their attention. Notifications, emails, phone calls, Tinder, dating, friends, family, bosses, employees, taxes, just like all types of things. That's good. And advertisements, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, budgets, sales numbers, quotas, reports, like customer complaints, refunds, like, I mean, just, there's just shit constantly pulling your attention away. I mean, it's just not work. It's aches and pains, back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain. It's feeling fat, sluggish, tired, slow. All of these things interrupt our intention to like execute that plan. And with all of that bombardment, we have a hard time focusing on one single thing. And that's what's called ADD. The inability, or not, it's when humans struggle to be present and to be able to look at one thing and just let the rest of the world just disappear and see that one thing and the beauty and the intricacy of that one single thing. And to do that over a sustained period of time requires being present, having appreciation and fascination and curiosity. That awareness is what allows you to be mindful, which is paying attention to what you're doing in motion. Awareness is paying attention to what's going on in the moment, and being mindful is reacting to it through time. It might be a little bit deep. Try to keep it surface. So when we hit this third life existential crisis, we're in one of those two areas, but what we have in common is the three ways that manifests, which is in anxiety, depression, or attention deficit disorder. And ADHD is just when you put a little bit of electricity in that, some expansive energy added to that whole equation. And there are many pathways. Now we feel this thing, and now we're like, shit, I want a cure. I want to go back to happy, but I can't go backwards back to happy. I have to go forward, and it's a whole new set of rules. And like, what got me here is not going to get me there. Ultimately, what we're seeking is an end result, whether it's making money, getting laid, getting fit, getting recognized, becoming famous, being a humanitarian, having a purpose, being useful, whatever your intention is. And it's a whole new skill set, and you've got to figure out, okay, I got to try something else other than what I was just doing to make me feel like I am in control of my emotions, because ultimately that's the worst disease in the world. It's the only disease in the world, because we're all going to die. But it's like, how do you feel during the process? And if you can have emotional control, then you rule your universe. So that's what we're seeking. And it's at its essence is emotional control. And so there are many pathways in this third life existential crisis. There's a lot of pathways to feeling like you're in control, because that's what matters. It's just the way that you feel. Okay? So we all seek a solution to feeling like we're in control of our emotions, of the past, being able to let go. The emotion, the fear of the future, the ability to, I guess, also let go. And the ability to stay, the ability of just being present, which is also letting go the past and the future. Because success, when you got to this point, was all about attainment. Get this, do that, grab this, climb that. And now the skill set to being present, releasing pain in the past, and being able to see confidently the future all reside in the skill set of letting go. And so we're like, oh shit, how do we let go of the past and the present and be able to consciously focus how do we let go of the past and the pain of the past and the fear of the future, and how do we hone in and be able to hyper focus in the now? So that's the new game we got to figure out. When we were toddlers, we had to figure out how to talk, and that was a thing. And then it was like, I don't know if toddlers walk or talk first. I think they walk first. Yeah, of course they walk first. What am I thinking? Grew up around kids. So a toddler first learns how to, like, cry and make noise and move around, be, movement independent. And that's all right. I can get into some shit. Now that I can get into some shit, there's some new rules. Typically, when I cried, like I was tended to. Now I'm crying because I'm pissed off because I'm not getting what I want. But like now there's this new set of rules. What the fuck? And then you have parents to like let you know, like, hey, you're a kid. I'm an adult. I'm gonna show you the way. So you learn language. And it's like, okay, now I just know how to use my words. So you use your words, but you use them to like completely serve yourself. And then you become a teenager, which is like the preparation of becoming adult. And all of a sudden, now that you're capable of using your words and moving around, you then, like, there's this new expectation, like, okay, you've got to work in this unit of humans. You're like, shit, a new set of rules. I got to be considerate of others. That throws you for a loop. Then when you become adults, it's like, okay, I contribute to the world. I've got friends. I get laid. I make money. Like, I'm well liked. You're in good graces with humanity. You're like, okay, I won the game. It's not over. There's another level. And what makes this third life existential crisis so hard is that as adults who are successful, you were told that was the top of the food chain. I make $1 million a year, $5 million a year. I've built this. I have a loving family. I won the game. I'm independent. So, again, whether you became that way through selling out or became that way and now you're wondering what the hell is next, we try to figure this out. We try to figure out how we can have emotional control of the present, the past, and the future. And so, like I said, there's a lot of things that work. Some people try medication. All right, I'll take Xanax so I can let shit go. I'll take, I don't know what, Xanax is depression medication? Anxiety medication. No. Xanax is an anxiety medication. Depression medication. I'll take Zoloft. Yeah, there you go. Is that still a thing? Zoloft so I can let go of the past. I'll take Xanax so I can chill out about the future. And I'll take Adderall when I need to focus. And that's a certain pathway that has worked for some people. There's testimonials all over the nation, in the world, of people who have found resolution in those pathways to emotional control. And some choose religion, like through suffering and abiding by a standard set of rules that make me feel safe and make me feel like I know that I'm good. I am forgiven, letting go of the past. I am going to heaven, certainty of the future. Jesus loves me, the ability to be in the present. All religions have same constructs to do the same thing, again, to relieve you of the pains and give you this control of the past, present, and future. Some people choose indifference. Like, if I'm just kind of like meh about everything, and if something bad happened to me in the past, or I have failed dreams, just meh, whatever. And if I've got a big consequence coming up in the future, and you're just like, whatever, that makes it almost impossible for you to be present, because nothing really matters. So at that point, you just become a slave to your tactical senses, and at that point, you're no more than just an low-level animal. And there's only one thing that is more detrimental than anxiety, depression, or ADD, which is numbness. And that's just when you are just so fried out and you've just thrown emotionally and subconsciously, you've thrown your hands up and you're just like, fuck it, like whatever. And either you lose the luster for everything in life, or you just grab onto the just simplest little pleasures that you can find. Laziness and, you find pleasures in just the simple animalistic joys. Just like a dog. My dog loves eating cookies and loves humping pillows and likes playing with his ball all day and shitting where he wants and barking when he wants and having no consideration other than his instincts to be a dog. Ultimate numbness is that. But the thing is, with deep down, you know that you're something more than that. So those two things fight each other, and it's terrible. Anyways, it leaves you feeling stuck and hopeless, and simultaneously feeling like you are missing out on everything, right? Every single one of those paths leads to the destination. Some are longer than others, some are harder than others, but just as those paths, how do I put this? All of those paths can give you a sense, a certain certainty that, each one of those paths can give you a certainty that you have control over time, past, present, and future. But just as emotional control is a solution to those negative emotions, so is like hunger, or food is a solution to hunger, right? So if you're hungry, it's like, give me some food. Now, I could eat a box of packing peanuts that would dissolve in my stomach, be completely unsatisfying, but eventually, if I ate enough, I would be satiated to where I couldn't put any more in my mouth. I'm full, right? And so that cured my hunger. But that process is not great. I'm stuffed, no longer hungry, but that was not enjoyable. On the other hand, I can have a fast food buffet of Wendy's fries and Burger King Whoppers, McDonald's chicken nuggets, stuffed crust pizza. That's a bunch of shit, right? And I can eat until I can't eat anymore. And I'll be full. That was fun, but I feel like shit. And what that does to me in the long term is real shitty. Or I can pick out the freshest ingredients. I can pull out all the utensils and use them in a masterful way. And I can create a dish that's vibrant in colors and nutrition and intentionality, that is a mixture of flavors and spices and textures, and that takes time to make. Enough time that keeps you busy, but also enough time that makes you appreciate sitting down and eating that meal. And when you sit down and you put it in your mouth, you taste all of the intention, the experience of the food is, it takes you back to your original thoughts, your actions, your execution, and puts it into this single moment that is this meal. And as you eat the first course, second course, third course, and finally get to the dessert, you take the last scoop of dessert and you put your fork down, and you are just tastefully full, right at that 80%. Or you could take another course, but if you did, you'd be hurting, And you sit back and you're just like, oh, now I am satisfied. Now, in all three circumstances, you are hungry, and then some shit happens, and then you're not hungry anymore. You're satisfied. You have this pain, this dissatisfaction, and now you're satisfied. Same thing goes with these certain pathways. So I'm not. So there's when you take shortcuts by getting handouts or swindling people or taking drugs to fix your problems or to screw someone over in order to get yourself ahead, like those are shitty meals. And if all you're looking to do is get full and just not be hungry, then eat a bunch of packing peanuts or shit, just find some fast food or some trash in the dumpster, like whatever. If that's all you need, then okay, that's all you need. But the thing about the human soul is that it loves like intricacy. And that's what art is. Like science and biology is like, I'm hungry, give me some food. Art is tasting that experience, the time, the intention, the emotion. And we all want that. And when it comes to this next level in life, to be able to let go of the past, be present in the moment so you can be certain in the future, there's another way that isn't drugs, that isn't avoidance, that isn't numbness, that isn't therapy, that isn't religion, that isn't science, that isn't all of these things. There is a way to get command and control over time, the feelings of the past, the anxiety of the future, and the ability to just like focus. That has a set of rules that are few, but they're firm. And when you have fewer rules, there's less ways to break them. And if you can refine giving clarity to the past, present, and command over clarity in the past and the future, or release of the past, clarity of the future, and command over the present, it's in a operating system that is held in the mind that has a divine understanding of the way that the universe works and has a very direct and simple way of using the most unique tool we have as humans, which is language, in a way that gives full command over ADD, anxiety, and depression. You can feel like you're in control with medications or, again, religion and shit. Your religion might be science. Your religion might be just like whatever your habits are and whatever you believe in. But if you want to open your mind to the limitlessness of life, it is at that point, and when you have command over the past, present, and future, and the way your beingness interacts with that, you have the ability to taste every nuance of the meal of life. And as a human, life is super dynamic, so it's more than just taste. It's experience. Now, you might have a clear vision as to what that is. You may be like, oh shit, like I don't even know what I want, but I know that I feel that way. You might have intrinsically known this and been trying to do this and only to be rejected again and start back to square one, or rejected again, start back at square one. you may feel this way and have never spoken out because it's like, oh shit, like, man, a complete lifestyle rehaul would really shake my reality, and it might destroy everything. I might lose all the stability that I worked so hard to get. You might be like, yes, this is what I've been doing, and I've got the engine rolling, but I want to accelerate the progress of having command over my feelings of the past, my desires of the future, and my command of the now. If you're not going through what I'm talking about, you will inevitably go through. You may be 20, you may be 60. This depends on the human and on your unique experience. Look, some kids start talking real young. Some kids start reading at 3 months, doing sign language and shit. Some kids are late developers. There are some kids that go through puberty in 4th grade and they've got armpit hairs and shit. And then there are other kids who are 4'2" until they're juniors in high school. That puberty has a span. Some are early, some are late. This third life existential crisis happens somewhere between 25 and 55 years old. And again, exceptions to everything. Might happen younger, might happen older. But in general, it happens in your late 20s, early 40s. Somewhere in between there. It's hard to ask for help or even to talk about it because, like, you're that person that everyone sees as strong. You're that person that everyone sees has it all together. You're that person that people look at your Facebook and your Instagram and your YouTube. They're like, wow, they're really living. All meanwhile, you're like, okay. Like, what's next? Or you're like, man, this isn't really what I want to be doing. I've changed my mind. And so I want to empower people to open up, to figure out, to make a plan, to hold accountable. I want to help people that believe in the audacity and the beauty of their dreams. I want to help people who know that there's more but feel like they're driving 100 miles an hour in thick fog, and give them confidence and clear that fog. All of that stuff is done through the mentorship and the coaching that I've been doing for the past 10 years. And if you've hit this kind of second puberty of life and you're ready for that next transformation, that next breakthrough. I mean, here's the thing. Whether you're ready for it or not, it's coming. It's like birth. Like a fetus is very comfortable in the womb. And then all of a sudden, just like shit starts happening. You're like, fuck, my house, what the hell's happening? Feels like to a fetus, birth feels like a hurricane, you know? Only to realize that you're coming into a much more dynamic, beautiful world. But it's jarring nonetheless. But nevertheless, you have no control over it. The universe wins every single time. And here's the thing. This second, my snoring dog, I'm sorry. This second puberty has different rules, which is you get to choose if and when you transform, that you learn these things. And again, sometimes we do it with drugs, sometimes we do it with religion, sometimes we do it with struggle. Like, hey, I'm going to learn the hard way. I'm going to learn the hard way. And the thing is, you will always find your way if you stay humble and aware. But like the ideal is, and you see this even with food, like how do we make the most gourmet, intentional, intricate thing in the fastest way possible? Because that's ideal. Then we can experience much beauty in a short amount of time, which gives us more time to experience more beauty. And it's like, yeah. And you see this happening everywhere in the world. Well, I have a way to do that with your emotional control. And it's merely just kind of an operating system. It's the new operating system of your mind, the new agreements that you need to abide by with your words, thoughts, and actions. Similar to like when you were a toddler, it was just like, tell me what you want. And then when you became a teenager, it's like, no, you got to consider what they want. You're like, what the fuck? I just figured out how to tell you what I want, and now you got to tell me I got to consider these other assholes? Then you become an adult, and then it's like, oh shit. The best way for me to give to humanity is for me to give to me the most I can so I can give the most of me to them. It almost feels backwards. Here's the thing. Life is as such that you will figure it out. If you have the will, you will figure it out. To an extent. Now, you could satiate your hunger by having a handful of packing peanuts or a whole box of them. You can satiate your hunger by having a single cheeseburger or the entire left side of the menu. Preferably the breakfast side. And you can get to this next level by drugs, religion, indifference, just more accomplishments. At this point, accomplishment then becomes religion, if you understand. Like, religion is like your habits. You find solace in your habits, in your ways, in set ways that are structured and immovable. Or you can do it by self-discovery. Having command over oneself, getting to know oneself so you can know others better, so you can know the world better, so you can give back to the world better, whatever that may be. Your next step might be to have a family. It might be to start that company. It might be to get your health under control. And it might be to contribute in a unique way. It might be social justice. It might be social connections. It might be in simply just creating for the sake of your joy and then sharing that with other people. I don't know, whatever it is. That next level. Hey buddy, they can hear you licking your paws. Please don't do that. I got a couple more minutes. So yeah, in my coaching, in working with people, thanks, buddy. These are the things that I was put on this earth to do, to help people do this. I was given a weird gift that is taking me down a very unique path that has experienced what I've been talking to you about in many cycles and through many different lenses. And that's what I want to share on my webinar. That's what I want to do in my kind of rewire group coaching program. And that's what I want to do with everybody. That's what I want to do with everybody that I touch. In some way, get them closer to understanding, actualizing, utilizing, and executing all this shit that I've been talking about. Oh, that was my neck. These are the things that I've been writing in my notebook for the past 10 years. And I don't know if it was so narcissistic that I didn't really think about putting it out there, or if it was the fear of people's opinions of these kind of raw ideas. Nevertheless, this is the first podcast for precise language, which the only intention is to get this language modality, this linguistic mental operating system out into the world so people can be themselves and live in harmony with others, and not just be themselves like, hey, you do you, but like be their dynamic selves, like the best and the most of themselves. And sometimes the most of yourself is not always the best, but there's still space for that, and where everyone can do that, and everyone can let go of shit that happens even when your two realities collide, and everyone can see in the future, so they're not living this, what's the word? They're not living this mindset of scarcity. Anxiety comes from that a ton. And when those two things go away, it's so natural and easy to be living in the present, to be happy in the now. And when you're happy in the now and you're seeing little bits in the future, you're no longer worrying about your future. You're worrying about other people's future. And at that point, you want to serve. And because you're so free from all the chains in the past, and you're so certain of your future, it's nothing to you to stop for a moment and release someone of their chains of the past and let them free. It's abundance everywhere, past, present, and future. I was given this vision at a very young age. And I've noticed its cycles of maturity of like when it goes through its adolescence. And it feels super clear to me now that I've applied this modality to my life and watched other people apply it to theirs. And it's complete freedom. And if you ask people what complete freedom is, I guarantee you that they can't answer it. And if they can, then they might not know the articulate rules of this modality, but they embody them, certainly. All enlightened and truly fulfilled people embody it. But this podcast is about me showing it to you. And it's taken me a long time to even just get to this point. So this is episode 1 of many. And stick around because I'm going to have really just my random thoughts. Whatever goes in my notebook is going to go on here. And hopefully over time, certainly over time, this concept and operating system will become more of the norm. And there's a part of me that's like, oh man, like I just like think about how much editing I need to do on this. Like maybe a couple times of the dog barking or like whatever. But there's another part of me that's just got to let go of every criticism that I've ever received or have ever given myself. And say just put it out there. If one person hears it, like maybe that one person has the ability to be way more influential than you, but at least they have the secret sauce. Because this is the secret sauce. And over these episodes, I'm going to prove it and demonstrate it and show it over and over and over again. That precise language, this operating system of the mind, this language modality, is the solution to broken relationships, broken dreams, baggage in the past, just like it is the way to program your mind and mouth and body and spirit to function in harmony so you can experience the depths of what it really is to be a human, which most people don't even know. That's why it's so hard to sell. I'm trying to sell a food that no one's ever tasted, or very few people have tasted, because there's lots of people like me that have been given inherent gifts to help raise the vibration of the planet one way or another. Anyways, it is 3 a.m. I've been wanting to do this podcast for a long time, like a really, 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 really long time. And it only took a decade for me to grow the balls to do it. So until next time, this is Spencer B, Invincible Academy, Precise Language Podcast. Peace.